What's up, beautiful people? It is your girl, the Glow Coach here. And of course, I have brought the heat and the fire once again. Thank me later. We have the amazing, funny, beautiful, talented Afreecáh Simóne. She is a social media influencer that has just done her thing, showing up, shining her light, loving God, being all of her. And I couldn't do you guys justice without asking her to come to the Biz and Breakthroughs podcast. I think she's wonderful. I love the authenticity. And I really want her to talk today about how you can just show up and be all of you, how you can put your faith over fear and walk this walk with God, and how it looks different for everybody. And so I'm going to let her do herself some justice, because you guys know I always jack it up. I'm going to let her tell you guys a little bit about herself and what really led her to being a social media influencer. So Afreecáh, take it away, my love.
Thank you. Thank you, first of all, for even having me. You gave me so many accolades. I was over here like, ooh, okay, go me. So first and foremost, I am a High Point, North Carolina native. So I'm right down the street from you. And I am a proud graduate of the illustrious North Carolina Agricultural and Technical State University in Greensboro, North Carolina. Still residing here. Super excited again for this opportunity. I have done it all. I've gone from working like retail to being in education. I was a teacher for 6.5 years, cheer track coach for 7.5 years. I just hung up that jersey this past basketball season, so that was cool. Currently an education consultant. I travel across the nation to help districts become better districts for their teachers and for the students. So I'm still working in education, which I enjoy and I love. And then on the side, I've become a social media influencer. So it wasn't ever the plan necessarily. I started having I could do this feeling last year. And I had a moment where I had uploaded all this batch recording drafts for my reels. And Instagram did some kind of update last summer, and all of my stuff got deleted. And I was like, wow, never again. I'm done. I'm tapping out. And then I had a friend reach out, and she was like, what are you doing? Where's the content? Like, I know your stuff got deleted, but get back on it. And ever since then, I've been back on it. I've had a couple of gut checks from God, like, who are you being? That's not who I called you to be. And so once I started stepping into being really authentic and making my content relatable, not just the trendy stuff, that's when I started seeing engagement and followings, and everything took off. It took off from there. And then, of course, with me being Adana's recipe ambassador, that helped also, because Tabitha Brown has shared a lot of my stuff on her page. And I'm just like, whoa, this is all happening really quickly. So I'm just grateful. I'm extremely grateful.
I love all of that. I just really, it never ceases to amaze me, the stories and how God just always transitions people from one place to another, and how you're led on this journey and you just end up someplace you never thought you would be, you know? And so I like the fact that you were just yourself, you know, but you still honored the fact that God kind of checked you a little bit. And I've had to deal with that a little bit about, you know, some things, especially in the coaching world, like integrity is one of my core values. And I like never want to be someone that I know I'm not. I never want to promise something that I know I'm not gifted enough to support somebody with, or to even like hide parts of myself. You know, so that's a big thing. And God has really had to like talk to me and be like, wait a minute. And it wasn't so much always like a gut check, like you're doing something that I didn't really tell you to do, but it was more like you're not even being who you really are. Like, why are you hiding how amazing and talented and all of these things that I made you? So I love how you're just yourself. And like you said, it is relatable, which is why it's so funny, and why I go through your content. I'm like, girl, that was me yesterday. Okay, thank you. It is relatable. And when people keep this mask on, nobody can find you. You can't serve the people you're here to serve because you're hiding. So I love that so much. I really do want to find out, how did you find the courage to just be you? Like, what did that journey look like? Because it's not so easy just showing up and being yourself for a lot of people, including myself sometimes.
Yeah. In all honesty, a big thank you, of course, to my parents. They've always just taught us to show up authentically as yourselves, no matter what. But in society and with being a social media influencer, it's so easy to be like, but I want to be kind of like them. I want a following like theirs. You know, it's so easy to do that. Tabitha Brown has been a huge inspiration, from her talking about how she used to have to like code switch heavily to where she was straightening her hair because that's what the people told her to do, right? And then she got very sick. She told God, listen, if you heal me, you can have me. That hit me big time too. But then just watching her story and then knowing she's from right up the street from where I'm from, that was super inspiring. But it's like when I first started on this journey, I used to try to post all the trending sounds and I used to try to do all the trending dances because that's what everybody was doing. That's how you gained your following. And the gut check was like, but who are you being? Them or you? And I'm like, and one day I just felt this heaviness of God saying to me, like, if you tighten up, I'll take you where you need to go. But I need you to align with you. Because this is not, you're being the next influencer. And my biggest thing since that check has been, I do not want to be that influencer that's waking up to post just to post. I don't want to be that influencer that has to act like an influencer. I can only give you who I am. And I'm at the point where that's all I'm going to give. And for some people it works, and for some people it doesn't. But at the end of the day, the people who need my content, who need that laugh, who need to see the deals, who need some inspiration, whatever the case is, those are the people who will see the content and they'll rock with me. And anyone who doesn't, that's okay too, because I'm really okay with being an acquired taste. I don't want to be for everybody. So right. The people who engage, the people who follow, love them very much. And the people who are like, she's not my cup of tea, that's okay too. That's okay too. Right. I just became okay with, I am who I am. And when my following really started growing and I learned that I was doing more authentic content, if I'm doing voiceovers, it's stuff I would really say or things I have really felt. It's nothing that, like, I've done the voiceovers where I'm like, I would never say this, but it's trending right now, so I'm going to do it. I've done that before and it flopped. But when I started showing up 110% as me, that's when I went to bed one night with 3,200 followers and woke up the next night with 12,000. I don't know what happened.
Shut up.
And I'm like, I woke up, I had all these notifications, and I just looked up to God and was like, I heard you and thank you. Like, that's all I could do in that moment.
Right.
I didn't want to keep giving people a false narrative of who I am. And I also didn't want to be like some influencers and get lost in that. Because once you get lost in that world, it's really hard to dig yourself out. And I've had too many journeys of having to rediscover and find myself. I'm sick of that. So I said, let me just show up as me. And the people who rock with it will. And the ones who don't, that's okay. They'll come around.
Yeah.
Something will land eventually. So.
Right. I love all of that. And I love how God can just like accelerate your success when you're doing what he told you to do, you know, and that's so many people feel like they have to be in this box of being perfect or, you know, not showing all of it. And especially being faith-based, it can be a little tricky because unfortunately sometimes in the Christian community or in that world, it's a little judgmental. It's a little like, why you got that on, or why you doing this thing, or why you singing this song, or why you know, it's so crazy, and it causes people to hide, unfortunately, and they can't even do the work that they were created to do because they're afraid of somebody saying something to them, you know. So I just think it's wonderful that you were able to adapt a mindset of like, listen, it is what it is. Either you like this or you don't. Who I'm here to help is who I'm going to be here to help.
The creator made me this way, so if you have a problem with it, that's not mine. Take it up with him. I wouldn't do that if I were you. But I mean, if you want to, you can change it. That's on you. That's not on me.
Exactly. I do have a question that's a little bit off script, but do you feel like once you gained a certain amount of following that you like got any backlash or seen more like negative comments, or did you have to deal with any of that stuff?
I've had a few people come on to some posts and share their dissertations, and I've just kind of been like, okay, you know. And then I haven't had anything nasty. I had one person say one time, like, you must have forgot your script or something, and I didn't say anything. The people who follow me like got into her, and I was like,
right.
Sis, you gotta tread lightly, you know, touch not my anointing. So,
okay.
I mean, I've had some moments like that. I've done a really good job going into my settings and filtering out certain words, certain things that people may say. I've already kind of tracked that. And if you even put the word in your sentence, your comment won't show up on my page. That's just how I kind of protect myself from that. And then, of course, it's the cases where, because of my faith, because I do believe in Jesus, because I do believe in God, I do believe in the Holy Spirit, I've had some people come on there and challenge that. And I speak my piece, and then someone else comes in and speaks their piece, and somebody else, and eventually, when it gets that far, I don't like for stuff to drag like that. I'm not big. I don't do conflict, drama, none of that. I delete it. Just get it out of here.
Right.
Because I mean, half the time it's unnecessary, and half the time it's opinions. And what I'm giving, these are my real life experiences. So I hear your opinion, however, I lived this. And so I'm not going
Right.
to let you invalidate my experience because of your opinion. No, I said what I said. I feel how I feel. I believe in what and who I believe in. Like that
And
settles
that's
it,
just
you know.
it.
And then, yeah, like I'm not going to go back and forth with you about you. God wouldn't be pleased with you doing this mix. Oh, okay,
Right.
Nick.
Okay. I'll
Like,
let him tell me that. I'll let him
yeah,
tell me that, but the blessings say otherwise. So we're going to
that
keep
part.
on
And then when
moving.
I have people that come on the post and say stuff like, "I'm not even churchy," or "I'm not even this or that," but this song right here makes me wanna. This song right here leads me to. This song makes me feel
Right.
free. I'm like, yeah, yeah. So as long as I'm touching someone in the right way that God would see fit. I have not felt the need yet for God to be like, hey, stop doing the mashups. I haven't felt that yet. Those
Right.
mashups have brought a lot of people to Christ. I've had a lot of DMs of people like, the way that you're so free and worshiping God, like it just inspires me. I'm going to get better. I'm going to get back in church. And I'm like, I love that for you, you know? So I'm not worried about the negative people. That's their
Yeah.
job. That's what they
Well,
do.
I'm
That's
glad
what
that
they do.
God has just protected and put this hedge of protection around, even on social
Hmm.
media, and you've done the work too to make sure that that space stays safe for
Yeah,
you. Like I
correct.
told a lot of people, I went from following hundreds and hundreds of people, and now I only follow my other personal pages on my main page. Like on some of my
Hmm.
coaching program pages, like the Inner Circle, I follow all the people that I like in real life there because I'm less active in that world. But I had
Yeah,
to keep my own mental safe. I don't want to
that's
be
right.
like comparing myself. I don't want to let like too much enter into my brain in that space. So I tell people, do what you got to do, and don't worry about no haters. You know, nobody can
Yeah,
tell me anything about my life or what I'm doing. Like
that's
unless I'm
right.
harming myself or harming other people, you don't know the
Correct.
word that God spoke to me about something. Just because He
Correct.
told me that I shouldn't do something doesn't mean that you can't necessarily do it, and vice versa.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So I had made a post recently where I was like, you know, as God loving or as women of God, we shouldn't be like bashing other people online just because they have different beliefs and because they practice
Right.
different things. If God wants to lead somebody away like He's done me, He strayed me away from certain things. If He wants to lead them away, He'll do so. My only objective in this lifetime is to remember that we're all parts of the same body and that I'm here to
That's
love
right.
upon you, despite our
That's it.
differences, despite having different beliefs, despite even if I think you're doing something wrong as far as like your practices and stuff like that. Like,
Hmm.
who am I to say to you, oh, now you're condemned to hell? I said in a
Right.
post, like, nobody's going to want to join Team Jesus if it's so judgmental and we're bashing everyone and making everyone feel like trash. You know,
That's
it's
it.
just crazy. It's crazy to me and
And
mind blowing. But I'm not even going to go on a tangent, honey, because I've been
yeah,
a ran
no,
on
no,
for an
but you're
hour.
right. And that's not Christ-like, though. You know, the main people
Exactly.
who do all of that bashing and all of the condemning, I'm like, but how is that like Christ? Oh, okay. Yeah. All right.
That's why I tell people test the
Like,
fruits of the spirit. See how people really are. Don't just judge them by
hmm.
what they say they believe in and what they do. Like, see how they
Right.
really treat people. Are they full of love? Because you cannot be going to church. You cannot be quote unquote the most perfect Christian, or you don't read your Bible every week and things like that. But you're
Yeah.
so full of kindness. You're so full of love. You're always giving a helpful hand. Like there's other
Yeah.
fruits of the spirit are produced when you really are operating in Christ
That's right.
likeness.
That's right.
So I tell people, look at that. Don't just judge them because they're doing something that you think is bad. It's just crazy. But
Yeah.
from an entrepreneur perspective, I know that like getting downloads from God is one of the most important things in my business. It fuels my ideas, it fuels like my ordered steps. You know, it's like, oh my goodness, I'm so excited about this thing. Let me go run and do this. But I
Yeah.
know sometimes that it can be a little tricky to one, find inspiration without feeling like you're copying other people, and two, to have the faith to actually build the platform and post the thing. So how do you find this blend of just trusting God with the ideas and actually getting the inspiration to be as creative as you are?
I keep a journal, a prayer journal, and recently I felt like God was dealing with me just to make sure I'm really sharing His word, right? So in planning my content, I one keep a very keen ear to what He wants me to do, and then I also pay attention to how my body feels. If I'm doing some content, I'm like, you know what? Nah, this isn't the one. I will stop. Like I'm not gonna push it because something is telling me, come on now, no. Um,
Right.
I really just lean into what God wants for me. I will write in my journal, God, here's what I want. But then I pay attention to my dreams. I pay attention to the things that I'm hearing, what I'm feeling, and I go based off of that. Here recently, I feel like because I've taken this toll of doing like these mashup videos and stuff, and people are like, I love this song, I love that song. I'm really getting into like when a song lands on my heart, I share it. Or for instance, yesterday I was listening to "Wanna Be Happy" by Kirk Franklin. I've heard that song millions of times, but yesterday it landed. Now it could be because life has been lifing, and so it was like, man, did I hear those words right? Wow. No, I gotta share this with the people because it landed on me heavy. So I go based off of that. As far as being creative, again, being relatable. I feel like people really enjoy real, authentic content. People can tell when like you're putting on an act or a front or a show. Nobody cares for that. I'm not trying to be an actress necessarily, God, unless that's what you want. But like I try to just make sure I stay real, I stay me. I'm a naturally creative person, so something will come to my mind and I'm like, I'm gonna send this message like this. And I'm like, well, God, you cool with that? All right, we're gonna go with it. So then when I'm recording, if it feels good, I'm like, this the one. And of course I'll save it and come up with some little cute caption that people aren't gonna read. And I kind of just go from there. People don't read the captions, but everything is always in the captions. I just kind of go from there. I've really begun to just let God do it. I'm letting him work in me, shine through me. I have a quote on my page: I shine so that God can be seen, not me. So, and I'm starting to walk in that. That's something I've been saying for years, but now I'm starting to actually walk in it. So he gives me the creative juices. He already gave me the gift of creativity. I just kind of go with the flow. And I listen to my conversations from my friends and I'm like, this is common. I'm gonna make some content about this. And I do it that way too. They inspire me a lot, or my family. Oh my goodness. A lot. My students, former athletes, all of the people around me, whether they know it or not, they inspire a lot of the content. I'm just the brave one enough to say it, or the brave one enough to do it, I just check in with God every time. I come up with the content I'm doing. I pray on it. And then the next week, that's when I'll get into recording whatever content. If I'm recording something and it doesn't feel right, exit out, stop recording, start over, do something else. I pay attention to how I feel, really.
I love how you combine both worlds, and I love that you're brave enough. Like you said, I'm the one that's going to be the one to put it out, because it is so true and so real for so many people. That's why they react and they relate the way that they do. But it is funny that you say nobody reads the caption, because back in COVID, when everybody was sitting down, had time, girl, I had these long, amazing, heartfelt, inspirational captions. Girl, don't nobody read them captions now.
Nobody.
So they want the quick content.
I will post
I done poured my whole life.
Put the mix of the color of my hair, and everybody's commenting, "What mix is that?" And I'm like, "Y'all, it's in the caption." I don't post any. If I'm wearing the glasses, I post where I got them from. I post the model. If I do something with my hair, I post what I use. If I do something with my skin, I post what I use. And people will still come in those comments. What hair is that? What skincare do you use? Where'd you get those glasses? And I'm like, in the caption. It's in there.
Right. That's so funny. They want quick content though, and I see how social media is shifting. I tell a lot of the people that I work with that you kind of got to just keep up. Like, you don't necessarily have to do all the trends, but you do have to pay attention to how people utilize the platform. So don't waste your time writing all this stuff. Send it in an email, create a blog, put it, or verbalize it and create a podcast, whatever, something that you know people will engage with that type of content. But they want the quick video. They want to be fed really quick. They want to be inspired really quickly. So you kind of got to just keep up with what's going on depending upon the platform. But I'm glad that you noticed it, and you still answer the questions and still have patience with everybody.
I do.
But I love the journal aspect. I did a video. I told people I keep a running list in my phone of every idea, every piece of content, every podcast episode. Like, I probably have maybe 200, 300 like little notes and things of different things that I want to talk about. I said, if I sat down and actually create I'll be good for 3 years running. That's how much God will flood you. But the important thing that you mentioned is checking in. And also being in tune with your body. I don't think people realize, like, the Holy Spirit comes not only in a word. It's not always verbalized. Sometimes it's in a feeling. Sometimes it's in an intuitive nudge, and you have to be mindful of that. I don't force myself to create either. If I'm not feeling it, and I could have had it saved for a whole month and been like, oh, this was so fire. I'm getting right through this thing. It's going to be so good. If I go to create it and everything in my body is like, no, I'm not going to do it. And it's not going to have the same effect that I'm probably thinking it's going to give. And the funny thing, too, about checking in with God that I think people get so discouraged along their journey is sometimes the thing that excites you the most that God actually really wants you to say. It's not always the thing that gets the most engagement. Some of like my most things that people are like, man, that really helped me, got probably the least amount of views, but it touched the people that it was meant to touch. So I tell people, if you feel inspired, if you know God wants you to create this, don't get so caught up in a number and comparing yourself, thinking you have to always have these high numbers to be effective. You're impacting people every single day simply by showing up and trusting your order steps and what God is telling you to create. So I love all of that and everything that you said. I just think it's so powerful, and it's just a misstep. People just be like, I got the ideas, let me go and do it. But like, did you talk to God about it? Like, are you even feeling it today? Don't force yourself out of somebody telling you got to post X amount of times per day. God gave me my content plan. I only post 3 times a week now, and I'm probably more impactful than I've ever been in my entire history of being a coach, you know? So it's just crazy. But I love all of that. I know in the beginning, a lot of people really just get stuck on, man, how do I keep showing up? I'm scared to show up. My family's looking at my content. This person over there got something to say. Like, in the beginning, how did you, one, get over like that first little, you know, trickle when it's still trickling in and nobody's really paying any attention? And then just those fears of like, okay, now I really got to show my face to the world. So I'm coming from doing all of this stuff in an educational way and just, you know, being this amazing person in real life. But now I got to come in front of all these potentially millions of people. Like, how did you overcome that? And what was it like with those first few posts? And like, what kept you really going for this journey?
You know, my first few posts were all Donna's recipe posts. Donna's recipe had just came out, and I really wanted to be a brand ambassador, really bad, but they didn't have a program yet. And so I had been in talks with the co-founder, like, well, when y'all get one, let me know. But until then, I'm gonna keep posting content. So I love hair. I call myself like a do-it-yourself stylist. I'm not licensed, but I used to do hair anyway, and I've always done my own, not these braids. But before I decided I'm gonna start letting somebody else do my hair, I did my own. So I started with hair content first. Tutorials, different styles with protective styles. So yeah, you have braids, but here are 12 different ways you can wear your braids. Here are 12 different ways you can wear your locks. And even then, people were like, oh, we love it, we love it, we love it. I started getting into more of the voiceover stuff. And voiceovers can be very tricky because everybody wants to curse in every single voiceover. So that got a little tricky. But in all honesty, in my mind, the fact that I did have church members and family members, possibly students, probably their parents, athletes, my friends, people who really knew me, knowing that they followed me, I couldn't slip. I couldn't act like somebody that I wasn't, because I have a very tight circle. And if at any moment they see me acting like somebody else, they will check me. Or they'll go in there like, Cap. And I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to be that person. So I just, even from the beginning, I just tried to make sure whatever content I was producing was me, to the point where if someone else did come on and say, this isn't her, one of my friends or family or church members or students or athletes could step up and be like, nah, this is really her. This is who she is. I'm very careful with the voiceover content I choose. I'm very careful with any audio that I choose, because at the end of the day, I do know that I do have little people who I have taught and coached watching me. And that's not how I live my life anyway, but I'm also not going to show out on social media just to get a following and disappoint them, because they look at me and they're like, she's our shero, right? And so I have to, and it's not even that I'm having to keep that image up. I'm really just being me. And again, that helps me stay accountable to make sure I'm moving correctly at all times. I think that God, he purposely positions certain people in your life just to make sure that you're on it. And I feel like having those people following me, students, family, friends, church members alike, that helps me stay accountable to staying who I am too. I've had the days where I know I've posted some really good content. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be the one. 200 views. And I'm like, I edited that video for 30 minutes. Like, I gave that thing everything I had. I typed every word I said, and 200 views. I've had those. Those moments are hard to get over too, because you're like, am I doing it right? Mm-hmm. And then there is some truth to like the timing of when you post. I post when people wake up. I post when people get home from work. That's when they're going to be on the phones the most. Sometimes I do something at lunch, but you have to figure all of those things out. It's really, social media in general is very get in where you fit in. Like, you have to figure out your audience and all of those things. Those are small hurdles I have had the moments where I felt very discouraged because I'm like, man, I took my time doing that makeup video or that hair video and like nobody saw it. I'm over it. But then something else comes over me. It's like, well, then try it that way or try it this way. But some of that too was I was watching girls on TikTok and how they did their makeup videos or hair videos. I was watching the girlies on Instagram and how they did their makeup and hair videos. I was doing what they were doing. I wasn't being me. So once I started being me, I started seeing the fruits of the labor. And I'm like, okay, cool. Even down to people reaching out, can you send me this tutorial? Can you tell me how you did this? Where'd you go find those products? So then I started doing the reels about here's where I find such and such because people wanted to know where do you get your things. So I really listen to what the people ask me and I try to deliver from there. Having, again, the family, the friends, church members, students, athletes following me, that just helps me stay accountable to being who I really am. Because at any moment, any of those people I know for a fact will be like, nah, Af, what are you doing? That's not even who you are. And so that helps me stay accountable big time. I mean, I'm very grateful for my circle, my family, friends, church folk. Very grateful for all of them because we have real relationships. So if they do check me, I also don't get offended. It lets me know that I might have gone a little too far. Or maybe in some instances, I didn't do enough and there was more I could have done. So I listen to what people say. But again, most importantly, I listen to what God says because He gave me this talent. He gave me this platform. I want to make sure I'm using it right. And I want to make sure that at the end of the day, He's proud of what I'm doing and how I'm doing it. And that I'm showing up as the being that He made me. Nothing more, nothing less. Well, it can be something more. Nothing less.
Right, nothing less. I love all of that. I think it's just so important. And it's great that you have a community that just like, listen, we got your back, but we also going to tell you when you drop the ball a little bit or messing up. So it's important. And I think you just deciding to be yourself. Not only because you do have influence in your real world, like there are people that look up to you. And so it's important that you just maintain this thing where it's just you and you're always choosing to do what's right and best for you. I think doing that from the beginning is what led to the success too. Like that had to attribute it. But in hindsight too, it's kind of like you still formulated your own social media strategy and was like, listen, let me listen to the people. Like I tell people all the time, are you giving the people what they're really asking for? It's in conjunction with like, okay, I know God has called me to do this thing, but I'm also attentive and I'm aware to what's going on around me. Like imagine if I did hair for 14 years. So imagine if, great, okay, God called me to do sew-ins. That's what I specialize in. But then I give my client a bob and she wanted, 18-inch bundles with curls. Like I can't just give the people what I think they should have.
Right.
I need to be combining my gifts, my talents, what God is telling me to do in conjunction with what people really need from me. And I think you managed to blend that so beautifully and it just attributed to your success and then holding yourself accountable too, to do the right thing. Let me be who I say I am in real life. Because the moment I go trying to do it like Sue, Sally and them is the moment I'm off track and no wonder nobody's paying me any mind. Like they can't even feel the real energy because I'm not being fully myself. I may not be up here lying or being like a fraud, but I'm not being me. So I just love that. I think it's just so important. And I think you do it so well. And it gives us all so much inspiration and joy. And like, oh my goodness, I might can't do this content creation thing, So I think it's super dope. I want to talk about something exciting. And I think you touched on it a little bit about getting your brand deals and like, being able to work with Donna's Recipe, which I know is super exciting. You talked a little bit about how even though they weren't ready to have some type of influencer program or something like that, you still were kind of like putting the bug in their ear, like, listen, I'm here. I want to do this thing. Let me know when you're ready. So what was that moment like? Like you have to give us in detail the moment you found out you were actually going to be doing it. And then like what advice you would give to help people secure other brand deals, big or small.
Man. So Donna's Recipe dropped. I think I might have DM'd Gina Woods, who's the co-founder to Tabitha Brown, and straight up asked, hey, do you have a brand ambassador program? She's like, oh, no, not yet. Thank you for reaching out. And I was like, that's when I told her, I said, well, I'm going to keep making content. If y'all want to share it on your page, by all means, you can. And she was like, wow, we really appreciate it. Okay. And so that's what I was doing. A lot of Donna's Recipe content, a ton of it. Like my older reels, if you scroll all the way down, it looks like, is she a co-founder of Donna's Recipe? Because that's how hard I was going. Then last year, they decided to have a formal brand ambassador like group Before then, they had reached out also kind of like, hey, are you willing to still make us some content, send us some of your stuff? I said, sure, no problem. And then when they had the actual ambassador group, we still all had to apply for it. And I think right now it might be like 25 of us, but we still all had to apply. They had to, of course, go to our page, see our followings, see what we were doing outside of the content we were creating. How are we carrying ourselves? They handpicked us, in all honesty. And once they were like, all right, you're in, I was elated because that was on my prayer journal. I wanted to be a brand ambassador for Donna's Recipe and work closer with Tabitha Brown. That's exactly what it said. So I was super excited for that opportunity. And it went up from there. We started having all of these different like brand ambassador challenges, but then, like they say, okay, so y'all, we're about to drop this. We need y'all to do that. And whoever does this gets this, that, and the fourth. And we're like, all right. So of course we're all out here just making the content in Ulta, in Target, wherever we can be making content. Some of us have even like linked up with one another and collabed on content. We started doing brand ambassador takeovers, whatever we could do to really help push and launch the brand. But even then, I had to go to them. Sometimes brands will come to you. I've had brands come to me. What I learned about that is you can have a major brand come to you and what they're trying to offer just doesn't satisfy. I've had some brands come and I'm like, nah, I'm good. Man, that check. But no, something is telling me not yet, not right now. And you have to be okay with saying no, but you also have to be okay with going out and getting it for yourself. I reached out to Good Molecules. They didn't reach out to me. I reached out to Bubble Skincare. They didn't reach out to me. And so when you go and you reach out to these brands and let them know, hey, I'm here, I'm available, it does help that I'm a Black woman. Because a lot of these companies are like, we need your diversity. Come on in. Okay, yeah. All right. So you have to know that it's okay to go for what you want. A lot of the times it starts with a simple DM to that page. If you're able, go to the website, find out the contact us. Yeah, no, I'm not a customer. I'm actually inquiring about a brand. And immediately PR teams will reach right back out to you. I've done that several times. And in the last month, I've received several PR packages. So sometimes you just have to go get it. And you cannot be afraid, but you also have to be firm and confident in who you are and what you're willing to offer. When it comes to partnerships, which is much different from brand ambassadorship, normally with brand ambassadors, you get a link, so you get some sort of commission on if anyone uses your link or your code. Partnerships are more like, hey, I'll make you all this reel in exchange for this amount of money and these products. And normally they're like, okay, but even then you can't sell yourself short. I did a lot of research when I made my media kit about how much I should be charging people based on the amount of followers I have. Several companies will say that doesn't matter. That's not true. It matters a little bit. Again, they're looking for people who actually have like a following, who really do influence. So they're going through your comments and seeing if people are saying, now I'm about to go buy this. Now I'm about to go get that. They are looking at that, very much so. But then they're also wondering about your commitment. We'll cut you the check. When will we expect the content? And then you have to have it done. It's not a matter of, hey, I'm 3 days late, but it's coming. No, you really have to be on it. If you're going to commit and sign off on a partnership, make sure you're really doing what you said you would do. Don't just get so money happy, because they're going to send the money one way or the other. You can't get money happy that you forget that you promised something too. So life is going to life, but you have to find some time to make sure you get that content done. But I'm just the type of person, I go for it. If I want it, I go get it. Like it's really that simple. I met Tabitha Brown for the first time. She dropped her book and she did a book signing, and I went, and a family friend, Hope Rush, she was like, are you here? And I said, yeah. She said, you want to meet Tab? And I was like, yeah. And my birthday was the next week. And so like everybody who knows me knows how much I love me some Tabitha Brown. Not more than my mama, but it's like my mama, Tabitha Brown. And so I got to meet her, and when I did, Hope Rush was like, she needs to be one of your brand ambassadors. She just told her straight up, that's one of her best friends. And she was like, okay, matter of fact, I'll follow you. I've seen your content. And I was like, you know who I am? And then when she called me by my name, I was like, oh, she know my name.
Right.
I know my name. That's exactly how I was. And since then, I check in here and there. We check up, we check on. Whenever she comes to Greensboro, if she's doing anything, I make sure I go. And it just feels good for her to be like, oh, there goes Afree. Come here. And I'm like, she know me. Excuse me. She know me. Like that. That's how I am. You have to go get it though. And if I would have, if Gina Woods would have said to me, oh, we don't have a brand ambassador program right now, and I'm like, okay, and never created the content, I might not be where I am now. So
Right.
sometimes you have to do the things you need to do, even if in that moment you don't get an immediate payout. Sometimes you got to kind of run the course with them and let them see that you're committed and you support them. And whether I'm getting the check or not, hey, this is what I'm about. And I like what y'all are about. Two black women with a hair care business and Ulta and Target in
Right.
under 3 years.
Come on now, somebody.
Are you kidding me? Of course I want to work with you all. So I mean, going out there and getting it for yourself, not always sitting back and waiting, because sitting back and waiting will have you somewhere like really questioning, am I doing this right? Sometimes you just have to go say, hey, I'm interested in helping you all push this product. Here's what I'm currently doing. Would you all like to offer a brand ambassadorship or a partnership? I always let them decide. When they say partnership, I whip out that media kit. Okay, here's my prices, here are my services, here are how I do my things. Does this work with you all? Yes, no. Oh, yes, it does. Okay, cool. Yep, we'll send you a PR package. 4 to 5 weeks after you get it, make sure you post content. No problem. It's you got to go get it. If you want it for real, you got to get off your butt and go get it.
Right.
It's not going to always come to you.
I love that. It's so exciting. I'm like, oh my God, Tab knows your name, honey. I would be pushing people out the way, girl. Pushing them right out the line. Like, excuse me. Did y'all not hear her call me? She called me, not you. She called me. That's so exciting. And I just love how, like, God will bring these things to life and you put it in your prayer journal, you pray over it, but you also did the work. So many people forget to do the work. It's not going to just fall in your lap. And I like, too, that you were bold enough to put yourself out there. Like, I tell people this year, especially, like, maybe the second half of the year, I'm in the season of shooting my shot, honey. I'll never forget in cosmetology where when I was still doing hair and I wanted to do a photo shoot. I had launched a bundle line, extension line, and I wanted to work with these girls that were really popular here in Virginia. They had good followings. They were beautiful. They seemed like the sweetest girls. Honey, I was shaking typing those DMs to be like, excuse me, would you mind? And then I couldn't really afford at that time to pay them to come do my stuff, to come take photos for me. I was shaking, typing that little message like, hey, my name is such and such. I'm doing this. I would love for you to, take some photos for me in exchange. I'll do your hair free. You can keep the bundles, all of those things. One of the girls was so nice. And she reached back out. She was like, girl, yes. And she got her nice little pretty friends, her other model friends, to come on board along. And I think to myself, imagine if I would have never just took that chance. If I would have let the fear of reaching out to people, and so many times we feel inferior to other people. We forget that, yes, these people are established and they have built something amazing. But at the end of the day, we're all humans. I can serve you and you can serve me. Let's find out how we can make that happen. And you shouldn't feel like less than, or I'm not good enough, or even if you haven't built quite the following that you think you need to have, shoot your shot anyway, because it may be opportunities for you in the future. I reach out to so many people that I love and that I admire online now, and I don't let how many they can have 1 million followers. I'll still send an email. I don't care. Either you want to come on the podcast or you don't. Either we align or we don't. And even now, even with all the healing work that I've been doing and the mindset work, I still, with reaching out to so many people to come on the podcast, I still was a little burnt behind some of the no's. I was like, I know they got my email. Why they answer? Oh, it's because I don't have 10K followers, or it's because I'm not, I don't know, showing some expensive lifestyle online. I don't know. All these crazy thoughts were going on in my head that made me feel less than, and I had to really check myself. Like, sometimes we can't wait on God to come gut punch us. We got to gut punch ourselves. I had to pull myself together. I had to go to my Bible. I had to read every scripture on how amazing and wonderfully and beautifully created I am and how I'm a conqueror and all these things. And I had to let God work on my identity. And I said, you know what? I'm going to still reach out. And I'm not even going to be mad. I'm not going to not, like their content. I'm not going to have no ill feelings towards them. I'm not even going to put myself in that headspace. They're still doing amazing work. And it's okay if we're not aligned. And it's okay if they even tell me no. Because when I look at the list of no's and I look at the list of yes, and that list of yeses is doubling and tripling this list of no's, and I'm getting the chance to talk to amazing people like you and other amazing women that are just like really doing some good things, I'm like, okay, God, I see what you're really doing. Like, who am I to think that I'm less than just because someone with a big following told me no? So I say that I say all of that to tell people, shoot your shot, honey. If it's a brand deal you want, if it's a contract, if it's a speaking engagement, whatever it may be, if it lines up and it sits right in your spirit and you feel like God is telling you to do it, do it. And don't get discouraged even if it turns out to be a no, because God may be cultivating something within you for you to be resilient enough to push through everything that you're going to face. It's not always going to be a yes, and it's not always going to be pretty, but can you still feel good about yourself, your gifts, and who you are at the end of the day? You know, so I just think that's super, super dope. Is it hard, in your opinion, putting together a media kit? I know we hear this word a lot, and there are some people that teach you how to do it, but was it difficult for you, or do you think it's just something pretty simple to get together?
The most difficult part for me was the color scheme. Um, I I was like, okay, I don't want anything that's doing the most, but I need something that's gonna be like, oh, she has arrived, right? So I went with something
Right.
very neutral. I did like a bunch of different hues of brown, and so when I was creating it, I did a lot of research on YouTube. I don't know how many YouTube videos I watched in regards to what to include, what not to include, why to include your insights, why to include the engagement rates. Those are the things that's going to draw people. So of course I have like a little snippet of who I am, my insights as far as engagement, likes per day, percentage of do I have more women following me? Because if you have a lot of women following you, skincare brands, hair care brands are like, we want you. So you have to, I put that down, what demographics, types of demographics to follow me. Then I put down any of the services that I would be willing to offer. So whether it's a product post, which means you send me a product, I take a picture and give a rundown. Hey y'all, here's something I'm really like excited about. I love their products, whatever the case is. To a reel, product reviews, product hauls. They're all different to me. Product haul could be as simple as I order 12 outfits from Pretty Little Thing. I try all of them on, but I don't give you a review about them. A review is, of course, I like these sweatpants, but they could be this here, whatever the case is. Speaking engagements are on there. Podcast interviews are on there now because I'm like, man, these are coming left and right, and I'm so
Yes.
grateful. You go ahead and let them know. You let them know what you offer, and then of course you put your contact info. So I put my email there, and I gave them like 3 different photos of myself, and then on my next page, my pricing card, I do it based off of a one-time, 3-month partnership, 6-month, 9-month, 12-month. That's all I offer. Oh well, we just want you for 4 months. 3, 6, 9, or 12. Like that's
Right.
what I'm willing to do. Like because my prices are set. They are what they are. Unless the following keeps increasing, and I go in and I say, well, yesterday's price is not today's price. And
Right.
I add a little more tech. And so I have that page, but then I also have a services breakdown. So every single thing I offer, it tells exactly what I'll do and how I'll do it. And a few of them you can pick and choose. Like you can have me wear one of your shirts while I'm doing a get ready with me, and I'll make sure I tag your shirt. Or you can send me a shirt and I can say, I really love this shirt from such and such a company and da 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 da, whatever the case is. But I'm very detailed with all that I'm willing to offer and how I'm willing to get paid too. 50% is due up front, the other 50% the day of. Like, no negotiating. No, none of that. So as soon as I get the money, I start on the content. As soon as I get the products, I start on the content. I'm not doing anything sooner. I won't deliver anything late. And so you have to be very firm. The media kit, again, it's big, it's major. So many different ways to do them. I wish I knew the right and the wrong way. I just went neutral because I just think that was the best for me at that time. And you have to make sure it looks really clean. You don't want it to look all over the place and too many images and icons and graphics. You don't want to do that. But and then you put the kind of influencer you are. So I consider myself to be more just lifestyle because I don't have a certain niche. I'm not going to box myself in. I refuse to do that. So I just put that I'm a lifestyle influencer, drop the insights, drop the services. Here's where you can contact me. Here's the price. Here's what comes with those prices. And then you let them figure out whether or not, and I always leave the email, let me know if this works for you. Because I'm not coming, this is what works for me. I'm not coming down off of it. So if it works for you, then it works for you. If it doesn't work for you, then it doesn't work for me. That's fine. Because
Okay.
people will also talk out of your money. The big brands, they will definitely, well, we can offer you $100 for a reel. So I have to get your products, record it, edit it, and post it, then engage with people for $100? Nah, I'm not going to
Right.
do that. We got to do
Right.
something else. So, and also not that knowing your worth piece is major. That's the biggest piece. You got to know your worth and do not sell yourself short At the end of the day, these are multi-million-dollar, multi-billion-dollar companies. They can spare $500. They won't even know it's gone. Ask for what you want. Ask for what you need. Ask for what you require, and don't come down off of it. For anybody,
Yes.
family, friends alike. I've had some friends reach out.
Like, I love you,
Well,
girl.
we go way back. We go way back. We do. But this is what I
Right.
do now. So you reach out to me. I love you, sis. But I don't. I'm not coming down off of it. I'm just not. I
The
just
math
that
ain't
goes
math, then, honey. We got to get it together. I love the fact that
right.
you can stand so strong and knowing your worth and requiring it. Because so many people can't set boundaries and they just give in on, I don't want to miss the opportunity. There'll be the right opportunity, but don't sell yourself short. And then how you going to be
Right.
praying to God for all this abundance and all these blessings, but then every time it's an opportunity for you to really ask for what it is that you really want, you don't take it. And then you sell
Mm-hmm.
yourself short time after time after time, and you look up and you wonder why your bank account isn't reflecting the amount of work that you're putting out. Like, it doesn't make
Hello.
sense, you know? And
And I've
so
been there.
I
I've
think
been there.
that's good.
I've been there.
Yeah, I've been
And
there
my
too.
oldest brother, was like, Afree, what are you doing? No, ma'am. You need to go do some more research because $50 for a reel. They gonna have that reel on their page forever with all million. No. Like my brother, he got into me, and that's when I started. And I'm grateful for him. I have two of them,
Right.
but the oldest one, he was like, no, you better charge what you're worth. That's it, nothing less. And I said, okay. I did my research. He was right. And I mean, there's
Yeah.
so many different scales out there too that'll tell you, oh, if you have from 2,000 to 5,000 followers, here's how you charge. 5,000 to 10,000, here's how you charge. 10 to 50, here's how you charge. I did follow those two. I've only had one company that's like, well, we have another micro influencer and she only charges. And I'm like, use her.
Right.
This is what I charge though. This is my fee.
Right.
So,
I am so here for it. Everybody know I'm all about God and I'm all about a coin, okay? And you
hello,
better get your coins,
hello.
honey. You know, so I'm glad that you were able to just find the confidence regardless. And I tell people, even if you're just starting on this journey, don't be afraid. And I do get that it can be challenging sometimes. Like, I try not
Yeah.
to, especially when I'm working with people or telling people or giving them advice. Like, I try not to go 0 to 100 because sometimes our faith just won't support us in that. Like, don't charge $1 million if you know you really cannot believe for it and you're going to be shaking every time. But
Yeah.
give yourself a number that scares you just enough to stretch you and grow yourself over time. Eventually you'll reach a point where, like, okay, I've got a price and I can stand strong in it. It's okay if you can't go 0 to 100, you know, but give yourself something that is like, okay, I'm a little bit afraid and it's going to definitely require some faith, but it's not so absurd that I'm going to shy away and cut myself
Right.
short every single time, you know?
Right.
So I think that's just so dope. I definitely had to do that in the beginning as a coach. It's like, you know, I'm going to start here, but eventually your girl's going to get here, you know? And then too, you got to think, like you said, that content lives forever for this company. You're blowing up. You're growing and growing. When you have like 100,000, a million followers, that content is going to be even more relevant and even more
That's right.
powerful. So you mean to tell me that you paid me $50 for this thing and it's going to be worth thousands and thousands in the future? Let me just go ahead and charge you now because I'm going to keep growing and this is going to make this
That's
content
right.
even better. So, girl, I'm
Yeah.
with
And
it and I love all of it.
a lot of the companies give you all these guidelines. Well, when you do this, we need you to pin it for 45 days. Okay, so you need me to do all of this on my end for my audience. And you think you're finna run me $75?
Right. Or then rush you for it too. I had someone offer me, it was $100, offer me to make a little reel about this software company. First of all, I'm very like it's not like people is blowing me up trying to offer me brand deals because I don't present myself as an influencer, but it is software for like entrepreneurs for Shopify. So it makes sense. But
Yeah.
they harass me like every day to record this video and I'm just like, I am freaking busy. Now I get it. And then when I ask you for, well, where's the contract? And how do I know that you're not going to just use it? Oh, you can just watermark it. I can just watermark it. Like, no, I need actual like details sent to me. I need to actually
There
have
you
this set in stone. And then you can put a deadline and it'll be created on time by your script and all of those things. And then too, I need to actually read up on the software because I refuse to offer my audience, my clients, because they do trust what I say, something I don't even personally use or know how to use. And I'm out here telling you to use the thing. Like, where's the professionalism? And then don't harass me every day talking about any updates. Did you make up your mind? Blah. Like, get out my inbox, please. So some people don't
Get
even
there.
approach people right. And then you come in with the bare minimum, but requiring the most.
And you
No,
have to know
ma'am.
how to say no to that. Like, there's this whole thing. Any exposure is good exposure. Lies. No, that's not true. No, it's not good. If I'm not making some profit back after all the work I put in, that's not good to me.
Right.
I don't care who it is. That's not good to me. And I think people also have to learn how to just say no sometimes. When it's for you, you know. And when it's not, just say no. It's okay. Another deal will come, another opportunity will come. You have to know how to say no to these folk. Now, I've said no to plenty because I'm like, that just doesn't align with my values. That just doesn't align with what I believe in. Well, we can offer you. And then sometimes what they'll do is they'll talk the money up because money talks. And I'll still say, I can't do that.
Right.
I'm not wearing that. I'm not supporting it. Like,
Right.
I'm not gonna be able
Right.
to, y'all. I'm sorry.
I
And
love
I
that.
mean, it's scary because and I've had some times where I'm like, I could use that money. I'm about to move. Nah, nope. I'm not gonna do it. I'm
Yeah.
not gonna do it. And then the other part is too, with these companies and their followers, you don't always know what's going on behind the closed doors of the company either. So even then, you get the deals. That's cool. Gotta pray to God about it though. Like, God, is this you, or what is this? Because I don't know. I've had some companies reach out, never heard of them, and I'm like, they talking good with the money, Lord, but I don't know. Let me know, and I keep that keen ear. He's gonna speak every single time.
Yes, keep that ear to God's voice. I tell people you got to, because
Got to.
I don't want to walk into a trap, and especially if I was like an influencer, I definitely don't want to represent something that may end up being like my downfall. So I think
That's
it's
it.
just so cool that you actually like do check in. It's so important. I do want to talk a little bit about content creation. First of all, let me just say this, honey. You make it look so easy. I be trying to do my reels after about 52 and a half takes. I done sweated off my makeup, my track hanging halfway off. I'm through. Okay. So I don't create a lot of reels. That's why I like take clips of my podcast and I do a lot more talking because it's easier for me. But you make it look so easy, and
Yeah.
you just get it down packed and it's authentic and it's natural. That's how I know you're gifted. But can you give us any advice at all about your content creation process and just how to make it easier, and maybe some of the tools and stuff that you use for like editing or recording and stuff?
Yeah. So first things first, I batch record. I have the moments where, like you said earlier, I don't force content. So I don't care if it's Tuesday and I said I was going to do 3 hours of content. If I'm not feeling it, I don't force it. So I batch record, which is just, I might pull out 2 or 3 outfits. I might have either some things I need to say. I've learned that my audio sometimes does numbers way more than the trending stuff. So I might have something I need to say that I need to get off my chest, or I might do some trending audio. It might be a song, it might be a voiceover. I record as much as I can for as long as I can until I'm tired. And normally when I batch record, I try to do anywhere from 9 to 12 reels at a time. So then
Wow.
for the month, honestly, I'm good to go because I like to either post 3 reels a week and 2 photo posts, or 2 reels, 3 photo posts. Whatever I can is try to, of course, make sure I'm still staying present. And then if something happened like last week, and the week before, I was trying to just take some time from social media. I had some things to do for church where I was working with the youth, and I really wanted to make sure my mind and my heart was set on God and nothing else. So I put in my stories, hey, content will be slow this week, but I got y'all. I'm coming. I feel like God has been dealing with me again with my content. So I let my followers know last week, like, hey, the content is coming, but I'm trying to make sure I use my platform the way God wants me to. So y'all give me some time. I got the content coming. Just let me work out some stuff that I'm feeling on the inside. That batch recording though, that saves so much time. And then when I'm feeling the creative juices going, I got to bank on it because the next day I might not feel like that. Right.
Right.
So when I feel it, I keep it going. I don't stop. Again, anywhere from 9 to 12 reels at a time. Um, Other than that, the apps I use CapCut. I always take the watermark off at the end because they not cutting me a check. So no, but I use CapCut, and I don't do too harsh of editing. I do use filters from time to time. The filters I use though, I like the ones that like still make you look like who you are. And I think I'm doing a pretty good job. I've been at Atlanta's airport of all airports and had people walk up to me like, "You look like this girl I follow," and I have my mask on. But these frames, In the reels that went crazy, these frames went crazy. So people will see the frames and they're like, you look like this girl. And I pull my mask down. They're like, oh, you're FB like. I'm like, I am. That's who I am. I do the batch recording. Again, showing up authentically and creatively is going to be your biggest thing. In CapCut, not a lot of hard editing. Like, some people go just a little too far. Some people sometimes don't go far enough. I just making sure that when you see me, I look like this. When you see me, you know it's me. And I always save them in the 2K feature, and I put it on 50 or 60 because it makes your video really clear. A lot of the times, if I do a real front-facing camera, it may not be as clear as if it was the back-facing camera. So back-facing camera content recording is not easy. I've done it before, but I have like a mirror in front of the camera so I can see like if I'm looking at the right stuff. So a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't know. There's been moments where I didn't have a ring light. I do have like 4. There's been moments I didn't have a ring light. I'm stacking books up and putting stuff on top of books, and people would never know. Some of my reels that have the millions counts, yeah, probably didn't have my ring light. You were probably looking at me stack some books up. And I mean, you got to make a way sometimes. I travel a lot for work, so sometimes the ring light fits. Sometimes it doesn't fit in my carry-on because I'm not checking a bag for work. And so doing whatever you have to do to get the content, to get the shot without like doing the most. I don't know if I'll ever be that influencer that wakes up in the morning, sets in my ring light, gets back in the bed to record me waking back up. I don't think I'm gonna ever be her. That's a lot of work, and that's not something I would normally do. So I'm not gonna ever step into that ministry. That's not mine. But again, batch record. I use CapCut. That's been my favorite editing app. Splice is good too. But then they always have all these ads popping up. And so I was like, y'all getting on my nerves. I'm just trying to edit this video and go. So I stick to CapCut. And then if you're going to use filters, that's cool. I stay away from the ones that give me lashes and huge lips and extreme. My cheekbones are already high. The filters make you look all kind of crazy. I try to use ones that look very natural. And I really only use them if it's like, if I maybe have that time of the month and I have a little pimple, a little breakout. That's when I'll pull out some filters. Other than that, all the editing is done in CapCut, and it's free. So unless you sign up for a membership, I'm using it for free right now.
Right.
So I bank on that.
I like that.
Save everything in more than one spot. I learned that lesson from saving all of my drafts to Instagram. When I had like 32 drafts that got deleted. I was so sick. I didn't do any of that content. I was like, well, God didn't want it out there. That's how I had to look at it that way in order to get myself back out there to keep creating, because I was blown. Oh my God. I was so mad. I spent hours on that content. I think I did like 2 full days of just recording because I was about to be traveling a lot for work. So I was like, I got to do something. I could have vomited. It was, oh my goodness. I was so over it. So save all of your stuff in more than one space. Yes, do it on Instagram. Download it to your phone. Throw it over in CapCut. And if there's somewhere else you can put it somewhere else too, just in case. Because technology is going to technology. Okay? So you have to just account for if something does update. Your stuff might get lost. If you have to restart or reset your phone, something's going to get lost. So I save all of my videos in multiple places, just to cover my behind. I cannot have that happen again.
That's so smart. I would have just passed out, and that would have been the day I quit and wouldn't be no more influencer, because 32 videos, I was hot about 4 being erased, and I was looking cute, and that beat was on point. I said, God, you gonna take when I look so good, you gonna take that one, but not the raggedy stuff where it's like a little blurry and I ain't clean my camera good, you know. But Instagram does glitch. It's very, very glitchy, and it's so aggravating to edit in there. So I know people say go edit in Instagram because then they'll push your content. I don't really believe everything that people say is true. I think as long as it's good and it's inspirational and does whatever it needs to do, it'll do what it's supposed to do. Trust that God is more powerful than anybody's algorithm. If he wants somebody to see this content, they're going to see this content. Like I said, don't be focused on the number. Focus on the impact, you know. But I totally agree. Put it someplace else. Put
That's
it
the part.
someplace else, like she said.
I tried so hard to break that algorithm. I'm like, I'm gonna figure this out to the point where I'm like, okay, post on Mondays at 9:13, post on Tuesdays at 6:17. I'm gonna have to get up for that one. Post like that's exactly how intentional I was being. And then I was like, just post when it makes sense. When people wake up, when they eating lunch, and when they get home from work. Like
Right.
that's what I do. I mean, it makes the most. You're posting something at 4 o'clock. Now people gonna see it one way or the other. Like you said, the people who are supposed to see it, they're going to see it no matter what. But if it's one of those reels where like you're being extra funny or whatever, and you really like, oh, this one gonna pop, I do kind of between 7 and 9, 11 and 1, 6 to 8. I mean, that's just if at all, if at all. When I do
Right.
the photo post, I post those whenever because Instagram is barely showing photos anyway. But it just helps you stay a little present on your timeline on your feed. But yeah, I tried to crack that algorithm, and as soon as you think you've gotten it, it changes, and you're like,
Again. Like I thought I had it down, but okay. I think
I
keeping
just
up as much as
knew.
possible, but not losing your cool, losing your head in it, being so like
Yeah.
obsessed to where you're like, depressed or beating yourself up or just unhappy. Like I don't want social media to make me unhappy. I still am a
Yeah,
real human being offline. And so,
that's right.
I've been doing some content wrapped around like, listen, don't forget that there are people out there in the real world. Like I speak a lot of places. I talk to people in the real world. I talk to the people that come inside the boutique. It's important that I remember that not everybody I'm here to serve is online. So let me not put all my eggs in there. And definitely not, don't let it like make me feel like my life isn't great or I'm not, living my purpose or something like that. But I
That's
do
right.
believe that people have to be smart. God is a God of order. You can't be chaotic. So if nothing else, pick a time so you have consistency. Like I post 7:30 in the
Period.
morning. I tried
Yes.
7:30 at night, didn't do so well. So I stick to 7:30 in the morning. Hey,
There you
that's
go.
that's when I post and I have my
That
3 days
works.
that I like to post. And that's it. But
Yep.
like don't beat yourself up if it God forbid. I mean,
Mm-mm.
I can't lie. If it does go past 8 o'clock, I won't just post for the day because I already know it's going to go downhill. It's going to sink. So I try to stick to my times, but I don't like obsess over it. I don't think we
No,
can quote unquote break the algorithm, but I do think we can be smart and strategic in
that's
how we
right.
move online. So I like
That's right.
all of that, honey. I definitely want to
Yep.
know because I'm nosy. What is next for you? Like you're doing such great things, and I know that you're having a lot of dreams unfold and come true for you. But like, what do you aspire to do next, and like, what's lingering in the near future for you?
I'm hoping. I love children. Um, I just do. From being an educator to being a coach, in all honesty, I enjoy being a coach over being an educator. I love being able to help mold and shape the minds of children. My favorite age group. So many people turn their face up. That middle school age group, that's my favorite. They my favorite ones. Um, and I say that because when I became a teacher, I was like 20, 23, maybe 24. And I was teaching my students, but we used to have some real talks. I mean, some real conversations. And then to see these babies graduate and they're like, can you come to my graduation? Can you come to my cookout? Can you come to this? Can you come to that? I'm like, man, they actually like me a lot. Keeping that front, I really want to do some motivational speaking for the youth, preferably inside of schools. I want to go in these schools. I want to talk to these brown and black babies. I want to let them know like this is not the end all. This is not the be all. You have more. There is more. Not even just them. All of the kids, because after being in the classroom and hearing some of the stuff I heard, seeing some of the stuff you see, it'll make you kind of be like, this is not fair to them. Like life genuinely for some of these kids isn't fair. And I know the adults, we crack jokes. What's so hard about your life at 13? At
Right.
13, she the mom. At 13, she has 8 siblings under her. And her mom works second and third shift. She's the adult of the house at 13. A lot. And you're mad at her because she didn't bring a notebook to class today. She's sorry.
Right.
She had to get all of her siblings on the bus this morning. Like that kind of stuff is real. But to be able to just go and speak to these students, I was able to speak to some young ladies that are with the I Am a Girl Club here in North Carolina. And that was such an amazing event. That was my very first speaking engagement. But it was so amazing. And I made some really good connections with some of those young ladies. A few of them graduated from the same college I graduated from. A few of them, their moms are just like, look, that was powerful. I love that you said that. I love you said it the way you said it. And you didn't try to cover it up. And I mean, I have those kind of real talks. So if all goes well, I would want to be some sort of motivational speaker for the youth, and even for young adult women, because I've been through some things. And even I'll be 32 in a month or so. And even just at 32, I've been through some stuff. And it's like, if I could get out here and let people know, like, I made it, you can too, sharing my testimony. I used to be really embarrassed about my testimony. Used to be really ashamed of my testimony. I've grown out of all of that. It's a testimony for a reason. It's going to help somebody. Like, I don't know who, but it's going to land on the correct ears and it's going to help somebody. So I've told God, I said, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready to start helping these youth for real. I really want to start helping the young adult women, like between those ages of like 18 and like 26. Because those were some big years for me. That's when I learned a lot of lessons. And if I could just go and be for them who I wish I had at that time in my life, that's what I would want to be. Who I needed when I was younger and who I needed when I was a young adult. Don't get it twisted. I have, like, of course everyone thinks this, but I have like the best mother in the world. But there were just some things, because she moved back home, which is Oklahoma City for her. There were some things I had to go through in adulthood by myself. And it was no shade to her and it wasn't her fault, but adulthood started adulting. And I was like, hold on, wait a second. Hey mama, what do I say to these folk when they call? Thank you. I get my script from her and then I'd have to go handle my business. But even in those moments, I had friends who were going through things that went through crazy depressions, deep depressions. And some of the stuff I went through, you would think, how did you never face depression? I had a little bout with it at one point in college. But other than that, no, I really leaned into my word. I leaned into God. I cried. I paused. I didn't quit and I didn't stop. Like I had to. I'm a gangster, but I'm finna cry real quick because life is life, and I didn't expect it to life the way it lifed yesterday, and it's still on me today. So I'm gonna cry, and then we gonna get up and we gonna make it work. Like we gonna make something shake, and that's how I've lived. I want to be able to go and help those same young women, those same little girls who are also feeling that way. So I guess you could almost say helping people from 11 to 26. And I know that's a huge age range, but I have a story for almost every year of life up until 26. From between 11 and 26, I have a story for almost every year of life. So if I could get in front of however big, however small the audience, I don't care if I'm talking to 4 people, I don't care if I'm talking to 75,000. I'm ready to share my story and my testimony. So motivational speaking, and of course, just continuing to be a full-time influencer is the goal. I've joked about this. My job, if y'all see this, I love working there so much. But if God has in his plan anywhere for me to be able to walk away from that job, like maybe next fall, next Christmas, God, if you want it sooner, just you do you. I'm out the way. I want to be able to quit and go full-time influencing. I love it. I love creating content. I love going into stores and putting people up on deals or creating the stuff that makes people feel good. That's what I want for my page to be. When you leave, I hope you have laughed or danced, or maybe a song I worship to made you cry. I don't know. Maybe now you want to go back to church. I'm not sure. Maybe you're on your way to Target. I don't know. You might be going to pick up a fragrance. You might be ready to do your hair now. You might take your skin more seriously. I want you to leave feeling good. Like you said, it's all about the impact. And it's really impact over influence. Because influence comes with numbers sometimes. Impact, it can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 1,000, it can be 1 million. For them to be able to come back over and over again and be like, I came to your page today because you posted this reel and I came back to see it. That's more than influence, because I didn't make you go buy anything. That lets me know that I'm making a true impact. So to be able to do social media influencing full time and to get into the motivational speaking realm of some sort, getting on some panels, that's what I'm wanting to do next. More speaking engagements for sure.
That's so exciting. I'm definitely gonna pray over continued success for you, honey.
Thank
I
you.
love that so much, and it sits in such a soft spot for me. I'm at that age now as a mom. So my daughter's 13, getting ready to be 14. My son is getting ready to be 12 in a couple of weeks. And so I'm at that space with the middle schoolers, girl. And if you want to come pick them up, please feel free. I'm only a couple hours away. Please, I'll gas, snacks, everything you need. I got you, you know.
Meet me
because it
halfway.
is tough. It is
Listen,
tough
that age group
sometimes.
is not easy. They know
Yeah,
nothing and they know everything.
everything. Oh my
They
gosh.
want all the things, they want nothing.
Mhm.
Like they wake up like, hey, good morning, good morning. Like, what is it's breakfast? Are you upset?
Right,
Like, what happened?
right, right,
This
right.
those are my babies. That's my
Hmm.
favorite age group.
They're so
Favorite.
interesting at this age, especially watching them grow up and just develop into these little almost adult human beings. And one of my
Mm-hmm.
biggest things, because I've dealt with so much like verbal and physical abuse from my stepmom growing up,
Yeah.
abandonment issues from my mom, and
Mm-hmm.
my biggest thing for them is like it's okay if you don't get perfect grades in school. It's okay
That's
if
right.
you don't always do the chores perfectly. It's all right if your room is a little messy. Are you emotionally okay? Are you happy?
That's it.
Are you
That's
satisfied
it.
in life? Is anybody talking mess to you at school so I can pull up and show them that
Yeah.
I'm straight out of
Let me
Brooklyn?
know.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
let me know what's
Yeah.
going on in your world. And so I have so many conversations where I just sit in their room and pick their brains. Like, are you good? Are
Mm-hmm.
you okay? Because I think sometimes we can get really caught up and get so busy and we do forget that children feel trauma the same way we feel
That's,
trauma. We're just
that's
choosing to
right.
deal with it now in our 30s or or in our 20s or our 40s or our 50s because nobody ever addressed it back then. No one ever had those conversations. Nobody does
Yeah.
like family talks anymore and checks in and like sit at the dinner table. I'm like, we may not
Taboo.
be sitting at the dinner table, but while we watch this show on Netflix, y'all straight? Let me know. Let me
Yeah.
know so we could talk about it.
Yeah.
And so I know what's really going on in your world because if you're not emotionally good, doesn't matter how much stuff I buy you, doesn't matter how big the house is, doesn't matter how many friends that you have, you're not going to be
Won't matter.
productive and you're not going to really
Won't
be able
matter.
to walk on this journey that you have in front of you.
Yeah.
So I think it's so dope
Yeah.
that you want to do that. I actually started something called Moguls in the Making. So it's where I
Mm-hmm.
help teen girls between 13 and 17 start their businesses, but also understand like how to build their faith and how to grow closer to God and how to be in align with His plan and His purpose over your life, and not how to not conform to this world and how to just be you 110%. So I think they're the
Yeah.
next us. So it is
I
in
love
a sense
that.
our responsibility to show up for them 100%. So I love that you're gonna do
Absolutely.
that, and I know you're gonna create so much impact and change so many lives. And like you said, it's not all about the numbers, but
Mm-mm.
okay, sorry, Siri is trying to answer my question. I think she want to be part of the podcast. It's not all about the
Girl,
numbers, like you said, because I can get 500 views, I can get 1 million views, whoever, who cares? But like when people reach out to me and it's only a couple, and like I know I actually did something, man, that's
that's right.
everything to me. And it's so
That's right.
funny that you say impact over influence. But one of my biggest lines, because obviously I'm a business coach, is it's always impact over income. It's always impact over income.
Amen.
So it's never just about like
Yeah.
a dollar and every piece of money that I can make. Sure, that's the byproduct, that's the fruits, that's the
Yeah.
blessing. But like,
Appreciate that.
am I
Hmm.
helping people?
That's right.
Am I serving somebody today? Or did I make it all about me? Like, it needs to be a good
That's right.
blend. Put your boundaries in place, charge your worth, but focus on the people that you're really called to serve. So I just think that's so dope of you. I'm super
Thank
grateful to have you a part of my world. I always do this
you.
thing, and it's called 5 Boss Baddie Truths in 5 seconds. So
Okay.
everybody comes on a podcast is a boss baddie, huh? You're
Okay.
cute, you're beautiful inside and out, you shining your light, you're doing the damn thing. And so I asked 5 questions that I do not send. I want everybody to know, once again, I do not
Oh
send it to
goodness.
them prior to the thing. So they have no choice but to answer it on the fly. So she is not prepared,
Okay.
but it's not going to be anything too crazy. So, what is your
I'm
favorite
ready.
song? Question number one: what is your favorite song on your playlist right now?
My favorite song on my playlist right now is Gyra.
Gyra.
With yeah, with see, oh, you got me good. I'm like, who's it by? And I mean, every morning, if I don't start my morning without listening to this song right now, give me like 2 seconds because it's right here. Yes, so Gyra by Chandler Moore. It's
Okay.
Elevation Worship and Maverick City Music. That
Mm.
song gets me started. It's been my song for like the last 8 weeks or
Mm.
something of that nature. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that's been my. I don't start my day without listening to that song right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's my praise and worship. My it's
Right.
probably it's giving by Lotto. It's something about Lotto. It's giving by Lotto just makes me. It's giving boss. I'm in the car like is and is. That's what it's giving. So yeah.
Yes. Okay, I'm gonna have to look this up, add it to my little morning worship list. So what beauty routine? First of all, you're always glowing, you always look good. So I need to be going through more of your reels so I can find out what products you're using. But what
I need
beauty
to make.
routine is a must for you? Like what is something that you just cannot live without right now?
I have to do my skincare every morning, and the product line I'm really set on. There's like two, but Elf Skin, the blue. If you ever go in Target, it's blue. That whole product line, I cannot. I won't go to the gym. I won't start my day. I won't take a call until I have done my skin routine. I have to. And then other than that, I also use another one of the fellow Donna's Recipe ambassadors, Madam J Beauty. Jessica's skin looks like, I mean, the cleanest glass you've ever seen all the time. And so I reached out to her, and she was like, I mean, you could be an ambassador for my company too. And I was like, bet. So she sent me some of her products. Those products from Madam J Beauty, black owned, black woman owned. Yeah.
Everything and then some.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna add this to
Yeah.
my Target run list.
Oh yeah.
That is so
Yeah,
good.
Elf Skin from Target, and then Madam J Beauty. She's on Instagram. Madam
Okay.
J on Instagram also. Yep.
I love it. I've definitely been trying to get some type of routine for myself, and it does make you feel good too. It's just like, oh, I did something nice for myself today, so I love that. So,
Yep.
getting a little deeper with the questions, what are you currently healing from right now?
A breakup.
Mm.
Straight up, a breakup. I was with a young man for 2 years. We went through a lot, and it just kind of got to a point where when I realized my peace was being challenged daily, I realized it was time to go. And so, no love lost to him, wishing the best for him, but I did have to choose me. And I've been okay with it. I've been very at peace with it. It hasn't been completely easy, but it's been worth it, and it's been necessary. So, and I'm feeling like myself again. Again, no shade to him. I really take that out on myself because at no point did he say, hey, take my baggage. I chose to let me carry some of that for you. But I didn't realize whatever I was carrying for me was also heavy. So then it got too heavy. So I put that on me. I've told him that. I've told everybody, like, no, I don't wish that man any harm or anything. I hope he does the best in his future. However, I had to put his stuff down and get back to tending to my stuff because I was getting away from myself. So busy trying to make sure I kept him grounded. I wasn't keeping me grounded. So I've just told myself I will never try to fill somebody else's cup before I concern myself with mine. No love lost. But yeah, that's
I
been the
love
last
that for
8
you.
weeks.
I love that
That's
for
been the
you.
last 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm definitely going to be looking forward to seeing the complete glow up. Because even though you're already glowing, it's like something about getting back to who you are, honey, that just elevates that. So I am ready. She's going to be online looking real
Oh
good.
yeah.
So y'all better
Oh
get
yeah.
ready for it.
And she in the
So,
gym, so don't play with
yeah.
her.
Oh, okay.
In the
Inspire
gym.
me. Please share the workout routine when you online because Lord knows the struggle is so real. I said the
Somebody else
enemy has
do
me
it.
in a chokehold.
Yeah, I'm happy to record something. Yeah, she's
Okay,
back in the
yes.
gym. So I can
Get
get
us
me
all the
together.
way together. I'm trying to be snatched, honey. So, question number
Okay.
4. What is your favorite way to spend time with God?
That's hard because I love going to church. But I also like my private worship. Right in my bathroom every morning when I'm doing my skincare routine. A friend of mine sent me a playlist a couple of weeks ago. We were sitting at her house and it was playing. I was like, yo, that's a really bomb playlist. Send me that. And so after I play Jira and no response, after I play those 2 songs, I go to that playlist. And in those moments, it's crazy because there's so many songs in that playlist that are old. And again, I don't know if it's because of what I've been going through for the last 8 weeks. They're landing different. I'm actually listening, like not just hearing it play. I'm listening to the words. It's resonating a little deeper. And so in the morning, I'm in there jamming, skincare. I can't tell you how many times I've put on mascara and then just gone into full blown worship. So now I got to start all over. Like it happens and I'm okay with that. But I love those private moments with God. Those are the moments I'm also normally compelled to pick up that journal and get to writing. Completely sold on writing the vision, making it plain. It's in the Bible. It's in the Word. It's in there. So that's my time with Him. That's the time that I set aside. And even if I am doing makeup. I don't wear a lot of makeup every day. I don't do foundation. I just like skin tint and go. But when I'm in there, if I have to stop what I'm doing and go sit down and have me a devotion moment, whip out my word, whether it's mobile or in my Bible, wherever it's sitting, I get in that word for that moment. And I get back to whatever I'm doing in a second. I might be late to something, but I have to have that time with God every day. I have to. And when I don't, I have learned my day goes like
Totally different. Yeah.
it's way different. And I've had moments where I've stopped in my day and I'm like, let me go home because I work from home. So if I'm already home, cool. If I'm out and about, let me go home and get right so I can come back out here and try it again. I've had some moments like that. Stop and go get right.
It's so important. I asked that question because I think it's important that people know, like, your time with God looks different for everybody. And like you said, it can be full-blown worship while I'm in the middle of putting on my mascara, or it could be intentional, set time where, like, at this time every morning I sit with my journal and I sit with my Bible. I know for me, just building that habit, and sometimes I don't do it, but I at least pull out my Bible app. Let me read the Bible verse of the day. Let me get a little piece of God's word in, because I think he has me in a season of understanding it more so I can continue to share that with people through my content and through, you know, my coaching and things like that. I love backing something up that I said with some scripture, honey, because I think it just lands so differently when you know this is God's truth for you in your life. But for me, it's just, you know, even the little books that they make, and it gives you a scripture of the week and a focus point. Like, find something, because like you said, it just makes your day so much better. And I realize, like, my head is on straight, my faith is strong, I'm feeling good, I'm being myself, you know, ain't nobody can stress me out. Okay, so if it's meditation and then prayer and then your makeup and then your worship music, whatever, find something and just know it doesn't have to look like anybody else's. So I think that's super, super cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And my last question.
And I mean,
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, in the morning when I first get up, I have a devotional somebody sent me. Somebody's like, this is a devotional for you. I'm sophisticated, okay? I'm saved, but I still got it in me. I still got it in me. It still be on me. So she sent me a devotional. She's like, this one is for you. It's called My God Today. It's a devotional book, 365 days of devotions. And they all start out with like ratchet song titles, but then it ties into scripture. It is so real. That devotional gathers me every morning, and I'm so grateful. Who told me about it? I think her name is Sherry. She told me about it, and I'm so grateful she sent me that. My God Today devotional. My God Today.
Now I'm gonna have to go look for it. Is it on Amazon? Can we find it on Amazon? Okay. I like that. I like the realness too. I don't think spending time with God has to be stiff. You know, I think so many people be like, I gotta, you know, come dressed in all white, and I gotta be sitting in this certain place, and I gotta be sitting a certain way, and like, I'm like, God just wants you to be in his presence. And I think just being yourself, like, I talk to God like I'm talking to a friend. Now, I may not be cursing and stuff like that. I try to remember this is the Heavenly Father here. I'm in his presence, but some days I'm like, God, I'm really upset. And matter of fact, I'm mad at you, and I'm gonna need you to talk to you about this thing, because this really hurt my feelings, God. You know, or sometimes I go like a daughter, and it's like, Daddy, why aren't you showing up for me? Or I don't hear your voice, like whatever that thing. Oh, I'm really excited about this thing. Hype me up, God. Point the way. You know, just be yourself, man. And I think that's all that he really wants, is you just to cultivate that relationship and don't worry about, does it look this certain way and is somebody else doing it? No. How did he call you to spend that time? So I love that. I'm going to definitely look for that on Amazon, because that sounds right up my 2% hood alley. Okay.
So good. It's so good. I love it. It's my favorite devotional. Yeah, Jesus Calling is good too. But My God Today, My God Today.
Super lit. Yes, I'm here for it. So my last question, even though I'm upset because time is ticking on by and we got to end the damn episode, but my last question is, what's one thing you would say to another woman, because it says Biz and Breakthroughs, to give her a breakthrough? What's one thing that you would share?
When you show up authentically, God gets to work through you authentically. He created you as you are. He created you for his purpose. So get out of your own way, surrender, show up authentically so that he can shine authentically through you. And do not be afraid. It's in the Bible. Do not be afraid. He's got you, and his plan is always going to be better than whatever plan I don't care if you've been dreaming of it for 12 years. His plan is going to be better. So just trust him. and always show up authentically. Always look to him for your answers, for your feelings. Lean in. Lean in. That's what I did. I leaned in. And I've never
Yes.
regretted.
And
I've
look
never
at you
regretted
now,
it.
honey. Just blowing up. Just blowing up and getting all the blessings. And we just wish you
So
so much
grateful. So
success.
grateful. Thank
And
you.
definitely are going to keep you in our prayers. And we just thank you for your
Thank you.
time, sharing it, being a light, sharing your light on this
You.
podcast. It means a lot to me. I'm sure it means a lot to the listeners. I'm sure they got something positive from them, from this episode. And I just continue. I look forward to continue to watching you show up fully, and being an
Thank
inspiration and a beacon for us to do the same. It's so important. So thank you, thank you, thank you, my love. And
Oh,
hopefully we can
thank you
get you
for
to
the
come on
opportunity.
back,
Thank you so
girl,
much.
and do something
Absolutely.
else. Come on inside the inner
Absolutely.
circle, show up, because I know you
I'm
want to do
free
these
now.
speaking engagements. So we got to figure out how to
Yes.
get you on the roster of speaking
Get
to
me
these
on
people
there.
and sharing your story.
Yeah.
Yes.
Book me.
Yeah.
Book me. Thank you.
I
Thank you
love
so much
it.
for this opportunity. Thank you so much for being courageous and having this podcast.
Yeah.
Like,
It
I'm
took me a while to get back on track. It did. It took me a while,
imagine.
but I said, you know what? I'm gonna shoot my shot all 2023, so on and so forth, and I'm just gonna reach out to people that I think are phenomenal and invite them into my world and just share space with them, and also, give them a place where maybe people haven't heard about them or they need that word or they need to see this light in the world to know that something is possible for them. So I appreciate you so much. Everybody, make sure y'all go. If y'all seen us on YouTube, go to the description. You're listening in, go to the show notes, go follow her, get you a good laugh, but get you a word all at the same time. Get you some skincare, get you some hair care,
Yeah.
okay? Make sure
Yeah.
y'all
Come
are
on over.
following and keeping up with what she has going on. And we look forward to just continuing to see you shine. Thank you
Thank
again. And
you.
to all of our
Thank
listeners,
you.
I love you as always, you guys. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Peace out.